Awesome. So welcome everyone to our next session called Blueprint for Success, Service New South Wales AWS Cloud Transformation Story. Now, this is a level 200 session and it will take you through how NSW's cloud transformation journey became a success. I'd like to welcome to the stage Pranav Gotadia.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us for this session. Hope you have good keynotes and other sessions so far. My name is Pranav Gotadia, and I am a Senior Technical Account Manager at Amazon Web Services. And here with me is Kamaljeet Bharadwaj. You're going to meet him soon. He is a Platform Manager for Cloud from Service NSW. And together, we are going to talk about Service NSW's cloud transformation success story. So let's get started. So before we start, and to set the context, I want to start with a question. Raise your hand if you are facing any of these challenges at this time. Awesome. So if you are facing these challenges, this session is for you. So here we are going to talk about how Service NSW work around it and get it fixed. So the agenda is, after a quick introduction of Service NSW, we are going to talk about the challenges they have faced at scale, and then what strategy they have implemented to transform their AWS cloud environment. Then we will look at the actual journey in action, which gave them the transformation so far. And then my friend Kamaljeet is going to share journey experiences with you so that you can take learnings back with you and implement in your environment. OK, so let's have a quick introduction of Service NSW. Service NSW is a one-stop shop for all the services you want to access for the NSW community. They have more than 100 service centers and 5 call centers, which provides services of more than 1,000 services. They have hundreds of customers are visiting them on a daily basis, which is having 94% CSAT rating, which is amazing. To support NSW community's demand, they have 300 plus products and an excellent team to support those products. At AWS side, they have more than 200 accounts supporting more than 100 services. Their modernized architecture includes containers and serverless functions. Service NSW always stands firm to support NSW community when they need. So let's take an example of COVID-19 crisis. During COVID-19 crisis, Service NSW was a central point for up-to-date information and help. Their app check-in app was supporting 10 million plus events during the peak hours. The Service NSW's architecture is designed and implemented in such a way that it is scaling in and out multiple times, and it is taking full capabilities of AWS scaling. So scale brings challenges. So let's look at the challenges what Service NSW observed during that time. Number one was cost. With growing workloads, cost was a bigger blind spot. Second one was decentralized network. Because of decentralized network, Service NSW were observing operational, security, and management challenges. Then the next one was security. Service NSW always wanted to be up in the notch with security and be vigilant on security. So they wanted to do automations as much as possible. And the final one was operations. They wanted to focus less on operations, so they wanted to automate the operations as much as possible. So they were trying to address these 4 challenges. To address these challenges, Service NSW wanted to implement a transformation strategy. And they decided to implement this strategy in 6 steps. So let's look at those strategies. They started with current state assessment. During this phase, they define clear baseline understanding, as well as identify the areas which required changes. Next, they look at the technical landscape, and they identify technology stack alignment. They also identify the workloads which requires migration, modernization, or replacement. They define set of objectives which they want to work on. Next, Based on those things, they define clear business goals and prioritize them. This is a stage where they engaged with the executive leadership and got their buy-ins. After all, they wanted to focus on improving service delivery for NSW community. Next step was to look at resource allocation and team capabilities. During this phase, they ask right questions whether their team needs any support or training. Do they have enough people to work on those initiatives? The next step was very important, was about risk management and flexibility. As you all know, big transformation involves uncertainty. And also, they wanted to make sure that their business as usual activities are not impacted. So they have taken care of those risks during this phase. And finally, they define clear timelines and success criteria. During this phase, they have identified manageable phases to work on. Well, once they have this transformation strategy ready, AWS was an integral part of this strategy, but once they have that strategy ready, they move on and went into an implementation phase. We will look at the journey in action. So during the journey, based on the strategy, they identified 3 areas to work on. 1, cost optimization. 2, security modernization. And 3rd, network transformation. Let's look at the cost optimization in action and how they optimize the cost. Based on the previous high-level strategy identified, they further improved the strategy for cost optimization, starting with the comprehensive assessment of cloud cost usage. And other areas you can see on the top. Based on those strategies, they identified key priority areas, starting with right sizing and eliminating underutilized resources. And finally, they also worked on anomaly detection, which they were reporting back to their product teams to take necessary actions. Once they have a strategy and key priorities identified, they put cost optimization in action. The first thing they started with cost visibility. During this phase, they identified key cost drivers, and they implemented cost intelligence dashboard. This is a dashboard provided by AWS based on the QuickSight. Service NSW took that dashboard, further improved it, and shared it with their product teams so that product teams have visibility and can take necessary actions if cost is increasing. They worked on database optimization, storage optimization, and extensively worked on backup and restore mechanism. That gave them significant cost optimization. Service NSW is always up to date and continuously reviewing resource commitment. They regularly review compute savings plans and reserved instances. This is giving them significant cost benefit and discounts. As a result, they achieved 40% savings in 18 months. This is very significant. But not only that, keeping the same optimized cost, they further migrated additional services to AWS Cloud. This is an amazing journey. Next, now look at the security modernization. In security modernization, they identified the challenges they were facing. The biggest challenges they were having was that security data were fragmented. Those siloed security data were creating other challenges as well. For example, delayed threat detection and response, or they were performing many manual jobs, for example, manual compliances. To work on that, they defined 4-step strategy, starting with security assessment. Second step was to define centralized security platform. Next, they also wanted to use cloud-native applications for incident and response. And finally, they also wanted to holistically keep reviewing their security infrastructure against the AWS best practices and benchmarks. So to address those challenges, they implemented Security Hub. Because of that, they are now centralizing all security findings at one place. It is helping them to resolve all the challenges which are mentioned over here. But not only that, to even further improve the incident and response, they integrated with cloud-native capabilities like Amazon GuardDuty, which is giving them the security findings, as well as AWS Shield Advanced, which is a DDoS protection findings. They integrated all those things with their environment. Service NSW is strictly following the 5 pillars of security recommended by AWS well-architected framework. After doing all this implementation, Service NSW is enjoying more than 80% compliances against PCI, CIS, and AWS benchmarks. Next, let's look at the network transformation. This is a journey where I'm especially very proud of, as Service NSW has done an amazing job here. So to transform their network, they identified the legacy network challenges. And they were facing operational complexities. They did not have a central network security controls, or the cost was very high. So let's look at it quickly. So they had a multiple virtual gateway interfaces to connect to their on-prem networks. So any VPCs wanted to have network connectivity to their on-prem, they needed to use virtual gateways. So they were having multiple virtual gateways. To connect to internet, they had multiple internet exposure. So having 200 plus VPCs and each VPC having its own net gateways, it was adding operational complexities as well as cost. They also had complex VPC pairing. Imagine 200 plus VPCs and growing, each are connecting through VPC pairing, creates complex mesh and operational overhead. And finally, they also wanted to improve the security controls. So again, to implement that, they defined 4-step strategy here as well. They, starting with network assessment. Second, they decided to implement transit gateway and improve security. Then they migrated all the VPCs to transit gateway. And last phase, they further improved, reviewed the improved architecture, and then look at the cost optimization as well. So let's see that in action. So to approach that, they have taken incremental approach. First thing they started with to simplified on-prem connectivity. In this, they reduced virtual gateways and implemented transit gateways. So any VPCs now wanted to connect with on-prem, they are connecting to transit gateway, and transit gateway maintaining a connectivity with direct connect, having single connectivity to on-prem, which is giving them 98% cost reduction because of the VGW removals, as well as single control point for the network. Second, they implemented centralized security control. In this phase, they implemented inspection VPC, which is connecting to transit gateway and ultimately connecting to internet. So any VPCs wanted to connect to internet will pass through inspection VPC. This is giving them flexibility to audit, filter, and inspect outgoing and incoming traffic. Finally, their centralized internet access. As I mentioned, all the VPCs who wanted to connect to internet are now connecting to transit gateway, and traffic goes out to inspection VPC. Plus, VPC to VPC connection is also happening through transit gateway. As a result, Service NSW got efficient network management. They have a central connectivity to transit gateway. They have central network and security management. But not only that, Service NSW also automated and unified VPC and network deployment. This is helping them for their upcoming network deployments. And finally, I wanted to summarize the result. Throughout this transformation journey, Service NSW got 40% cost optimization, but yet the workloads are still growing on AWS. They got 98% maturity assessment score for security. Please note that this security maturity score is evaluated against 22 AWS security benchmark in AWS guided assessment. And they got modernized AWS network transformation, which is with the reduced cost, improved security, and simplified management. Isn't that amazing? So I'm going to invite my friend Kamaljeet to share the journey experiences and learnings which you can take back with you, and it will help you to improve your implementation as well. So over to you, Kamal.
Thank you, Parnab. Parnab has beautifully explained what Service New South Wales does and how we were able to save significant amount of money through technology transformation and by changing the ways of working. Building on the top of this, I would like to share 6 key lessons we have learned during this transformation journey. And I hope you find something useful out of these lessons. Lesson number 1. establish a dedicated FinOps function. A dedicated FinOps function, team, or individual is required who can take accountability and responsibility of your cloud financials. A team who can monitor the cloud usage and highlight cost-saving opportunities. A team who can create budgets, forecasts, showback models, chargeback models with some meaningful reporting structure for engineers and senior management. It is fundamental to understand who is spending what, where, why, and how. We established this function in very early days of our transformation journey, and it rapidly paid us off. And I strongly encourage establishing this function in your areas. Lesson number 2, conduct a comprehensive assessment of cloud usage. Whether you are undertaking a transformation journey or a cost optimization exercise, a thorough assessment is the key. Try to capture your decisions should be based on the data. Let's say you are tasked to optimize RDS instances. Start with tapping into the core of data by capturing matrices like CPU usage, memory usage, memory swaps, disk IOPS, your network latency, or number of connections, database connections, your query performance, your network throughput. Once you have this much depth of data in front of you, this makes the recommendations very easy and precise. Avoid aggressive implementation approach. First, try to win the trust of the teams by suggesting them small, impactful, successful changes, and you can always revisit them again. We implemented more than 200 changes during networking transformation in dev, test, and prod environment without recording a single incident. That was only possible because of the excellent planning backed by the solid data. Lesson number 3, prevent waste through automation and proactive policies. The simple concept we followed was, if any incident is reported twice, we gave it a benefit of doubt, because we understand automations always take time, cost, and money. But if the same incident is reported more than 3 times, then it is a clear indicator for the automation to stop the future reoccurrences. We have created and implemented many automations which are running in the form at an organization level in the form of service control policies or a config rules. Some of the examples are, we do not allow high performance storage disk like a IO1, IO2 in a non-prod environment. We do not allow high availability, RDS high availability in a non-prod environment. Our non-prod RDS environment is running from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Fridays, and we are saving 33% more as compared to reserving RI instances. We have a automation running which goes into all AWS accounts. It detects and eliminates any zombie resources such as stopped EC2 instances, unattached disk volumes, unattached public IPs, or abundant snapshots. By default, we have blocked the deployment from AWS Marketplace because of security, compliance, governance, and cost reasons. Having said that, we always try to build the guardrails, not roadblocks. So it means if you need a high availability, we understand there are processes created. You can always follow those processes if you want to have a special requirements. Lesson number 4, modernize your workloads. Do not wait too long to modernize your architecture or replacing a dated technology. Over the period of time, it will start costing you. You can always start simple, such as simply replacing your storage GP2 volumes with a GP3 volumes, or implementing data lifecycle policies on your S3, or looking into an event-driven architecture, or automating your restore functions, simple things. I would like to share, a few weeks ago, we automated our restore process. It enabled us restoring 100+ production databases in 3 to 4 hours time. Now we know RTO and RPO for each and every database. Such a great operational improvement. Otherwise, restoring of database is always a myth, yes. Experiment, experiment, experiment. Always encourage a culture of innovation through experimentation. See, look, you will never get away from your help desk tickets, but you need to keep some spare time for experimentation. It could be 10%, 20%, whatever you can afford. Always have a close watch on what is new on AWS. If something is relevant to you, bring it in and practice. Try it. You never know, like 3 or 4 successful hits will change the dimensions of your operations. Lesson number 5. Look at security holistically. Security in the cloud is not just about firewalls and encryptions. It is also about building a continuous vigilance culture and a proactive risk management. You must understand where the security responsibility of AWS ends, yours starts. Means security of cloud is AWS, security in the cloud is you. It's a shared responsibility model. We always try to stay above the line by implementing strong foundations for compliance. We have implemented 3 standards, which is AWS Foundational Best Practices, PCI DSS, and CIS. In together, these controls are providing us 400+ security checks controls. And each deployed resource on AWS is measured against these resources, against these controls, and reported back in a security hub. Such a great visibility. Because once you see the items in red, your brain will automatically start working on fixing them. At any moment, always try to build the security logs wherever needed. Avoid building the security walls. Security is all about focus and precision. Always right-size your defense mechanisms. Lesson number 6. Build a culture of smart spending. Promote a culture where each team takes ownership of their cloud spendings. Cost awareness should be the part of a delivery process, not an afterthought. Enable your teams with tools, dashboards, or self-servicing reports, so where they can take action on behalf of their teams instead of FinOps or a SecOps approaching them. Promote a culture, you build it, you deploy it, you run it, you secure it, and you optimize it. And demote a culture of deploying tanks in a snowball fight. Means right-side your compute resources also. And in last, I would like to thank AWS Enterprise Support who supported us throughout this journey. Thank you. Over to you, Parnav.
Thank you, Kamal. And I'm very proud to be part of this journey so far. So just wanted to summarize what we have learned so far. We have learned the challenges Service NSW faced. We also look at the transformation strategy they have developed to mitigate those challenges. And we have looked at the journey in action. We also look at the experiences and the learnings which Service NSW achieved. By the way, same thing, you can use or implement the same thing in your environment. to complement that as a success toolkit, we just wanted to share these things with you. There are getting started resources, for example, well-architected review framework, operations review, and there are assessment tools for cost, network, and security. If you want to transform anything, it always starts with assessing your current infrastructure and environment. With that, I once again want to thank you all. Also want to thank Service NSW and Kamal for giving us an opportunity to work on. If you have any questions around the cloud transformation, Kamal and myself will be available here, so please feel free to reach out to us. Once again, thank you all, and have a good rest of the sessions. Thank you.